if you're on a gluten-free diet and you have not been eating noodles because of the prohibitive cost of buying gluten-free noodles, I think this is an alternative. Hey, it's Greg here with MaritimeGardening.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make gluten-free noodles. I work with a lady and she's on a gluten-free diet, and we were talking about things like spaghetti and noodles, Shanghai noodles and that sort of stir fries. And she was telling me that a pack of noodles gluten-free costs about 12 bucks, and that's enough for about one meal. And I was thinking, holy smokes, that costs a lot more than the stuff I buy, because we just have, glutenized noodles made with flour, semolina, or whatever. Anyway, so I thought, how about I do a show where I make some gluten-free noodles, show how easy it is to do, and make something out of it. So I've got this stuff here. This is stuff you can buy at the store. It's Robin Hood. I didn't get no money from these guys, but it's gluten-free. It's some combination of rice flour, potato starch, pea hull fiber, tapioca starch, and xanthan gum. I've made a few things using this, like brownies and cake, just to see what it's like. It's pretty close. It's not exactly the same as all-purpose flour, I won't lie to you, but it's close enough. If you were on a gluten-free diet, I think you'd be happy using it. But I've never tried it for noodles. I make my own noodles all the time, because even to buy noodles for like egg noodles or whatever for a stir fry, I'm finding the price over the last couple of years has doubled or even tripled. So I started making my own noodles, and I've got videos on how to do that. And I got some new techniques I'm going to do in some new videos. But anyway, let's make some noodles using this stuff. So what I'm going to do here is just for one serving, and you can just scale this up, and I'll give you some tips on how to do that. But the gist of it is very simple. You get an egg. How about I bring you in a bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so this is not hard. I got one egg in a bowl, got a good healthy pinch of salt, okay? And I'm going to use half a cup of this flour and see how it goes. You just take the egg and whisk it up just with a fork, or anything special. That's good enough. Now I'm going to take half a cup of the flour and see what that looks like. And just work that in. I find half a cup of flour and one egg makes enough noodles for an extremely over-the-top meal for one person, or a light meal for two. If you were having like a stir fry with noodles, or like if you were having a pasta dish with over noodles, would certainly be enough for one. Now this is interesting. With regular flour, all normal, or I keep using the word normal, I don't want to offend anybody. With all-purpose flour, this would not be quite this dry. This is still quite dry. So I'm going to work with my hands a little bit and see. Normally a cup of flour and one egg, or sorry, half a cup of flour and one egg is the right moisture level, but I'm not feeling it. I think we need about a tablespoon of water in here. So I'm going to add about a tablespoon. You don't want to go overboard, or you get in this weird, this weird thing where you're adding water and then you're adding flour and then you're adding water and you're adding flour, and it goes on forever. So I'm going to guess that this flour just takes on water a little bit differently than wheat flour. It's just a different thing, right? Made of different stuff. Now this is a bit, now I've gone too far the other way. This is a bit wet. So I'm going to add, let's say, about 2 tablespoons of flour. Oh my, maybe I should have just put a teaspoon of water in. Okay. I mean, making doughs is never exact, because whatever flour you're using, any kind of flour, it has a moisture level. It's not 100% dry. There's always a moisture level with whatever flour you're using. So I'm going to guess this stuff is just naturally super, super dry. So now I'm just kneading it. I think we got it all right. And I'll show you the test for whether you've got the right texture. it should be that you're using it and it's not sticking to your hands too much. Now, one of my hands got wet when I added the water, so everything's sticking to that hand. If you get your hands wet, everything sticks to them. Okay, I just work some of that stuff off. All my dead skin cells are going into this, so it'll be extra nutritious for me. This is just for me. This is for my lunch here today. You just knead it. Takes a bit of kneading, but it's not a lot of work. And if you're making a larger batch, I would cut it up and knead the individual balls. If you got a family, get everybody to knead their own ball. This is roughly half a cup of flour with an egg. If you want to stretch your eggs out, you can use, for every egg, you put like half an eggshell of water in, and then you can use so if you got an egg and half an eggshell of water, you should be able to use a cup of flour with that. And again, you just keep adjusting the moisture and the flour until you've got the right texture, which I think I've got here. You notice I keep going back to the bowl. Want to make sure I've gotten everything off the bowl. So now I got a flour that's really not, like, I can put my finger in it and it doesn't stick to my finger, right? That's the test. You're kneading it and it's really not sticking to your hands, right? It's not sticking to the bowl. And when you put you got a nice clean, you get my finger nice and clean here. Nice clean finger. Okay, clean finger, stick it in, take it out, still clean, okay? That's the test that you've kneaded it enough and you've got the right moisture to flour ratio in your dough. Okay? All right, this is ready, but it needs to rest for a little bit. So, I mean, on TV and cooking shows, they always wrap this in plastic, but why not just put it in a plastic container? Save the world a little bit. All right, so I'm just gonna leave this for about half an hour. You can put it in the fridge. You can just leave, if you're gonna eat it right away, you can leave it on the counter, but if you're gonna eat it tomorrow or later on, stick it in the fridge because it does have a raw egg in it. Okay, so we'll see you in about half an hour. All right, so I'm just letting the dough rest and I'm just prepping up some stuff to put in a stir fry. And I thought I'd just show this, just to show how easy this is to do, because I think this is where people miss out in life. The idea that cooking is time consuming, it takes too long or whatever. It's all a question of knife skills, right? And if you don't have them, guess what? You can develop them, right? We got a little bit of onion there, a little bit of ginger root here. Don't need any special knives. I'm gonna do this, I've got a wok, I've got all the best gear you can get. But I thought I'd just do this here using really simple stuff, like stuff you might have kicking around your house. Right? It's not a big deal to learn all this stuff. I just realized I'm missing garlic among this. But there's an advantage in taking a little time to learn basic knife skills, because food prep does not take long when you have them. I just realized I need some garlic. Let me get that. I think about a clove of garlic would probably be good. For this, I could go more, depending on what mood I'm in, but I think today, just for whatever reason, I'm feeling one clove. I'll crush it really good and dice it up real fine. You can go over it a second time like that. Right, gather it up, go over it a second time. Okay, got our garlic. Now, in a corner of this bowl, I've got the onion and the garlic and the things that need a little longer to cook all together, because they'll go in first. Right? You can see I've got the onion and garlic sort of stuffed off in a corner there. Because the mushrooms only take seconds, but there's a bit of a timing issue there. And I got this leftover chicken from something my wife meant. It's just like pieces of chicken that I pulled off a chicken leg. So this will go in too for my protein. So it's just enough. There's just some bones and stuff, and this is what I could scrounge off of that. All right, so I think that's good. I think we're ready to go on to the next stage and deal with our noodles. So let's do that. So I'm just going to cut this in half. Notice I got my knife upside down so I don't wreck my countertop. All right, that's all you need for that. All right, so I got 2 pieces of dough here. I'm going to put this one aside, and work with this. So let's give that one more massage real quick. And I'll grab a little, these things hard to get into. Some flour out of this thing. Put a little bit of this flour down, roll the ball around. And let's see what we got now. Never done this before with this kind of flour. So I'm really curious to see how it turns out, how it behaves as a noodle. I don't want to go too thin here because I don't know how tough it is. Okay, so I got that done up. Now all you got to do, you see that? Yes, you can. Is you just take that, you put a bit of flour on it, roll it in half, a little bit more flour, half again. Put it on the board, and you cut. Like that, see? Now, you can get going really fast if you want. Now, I'm not curious to know how this will hold together. They seem to want to break. I have to say they want to break. I was going to run this through a pasta maker, but I don't think it'll survive that. Let me turn my water on here. All right, let's do the other half. Yeah, I don't think there's any point in running that through a pasta maker. Maybe there's a different type of gluten-free flour that will more readily accept being noodleized. But I'm not feeling it for this. That's as thin as I want to go, I think. You can go thinner. All right. Roll it in half, roll it in half again. I don't think it's going to stick together. This just does not seem to behave like flour, like all-purpose flour. I'm cutting these about, half a centimeter wide. What is that, like a 1/4 inch, that sort of thing. All right, so these seem to want to break. So they're not big, long noodles. Maybe there's a way to do that. But this is what I'm getting with this particular product. I made this the exact same way I would using all-purpose flour. But with all-purpose flour, these would not be so brittle. All right. Now bring the water to a boil and drop those in the water, and we'll see what we got. All right, so we got our water boiling here. Gonna add a good pinch of salt to that water. And put the noodles in and see what happens. While that's happening, I'll get this pan going. Get the other stuff going on. When you're making noodles, you gotta keep them moving every once in a while. I'm really curious to see if this gluten-free flour noodles hold together. Clearly they don't, at least this particular brand or the method I'm using here, which is identical to the all-purpose flour method, makes a brittle noodle. You can only have a short noodle, but that's not the end of the world. If you're on a gluten-free diet and you're craving noodles, maybe this will work. We'll see. Get some heat in here. Got a little bit of peanut oil. This is a hot pan. Holy smokes, a little too hot. All right, carbon steel pan. We'll get the onion and the garlic. Got a couple other things there. It's not the end of the world. Let's give that a whirl for a second. Give this a stir. All right, gonna put the rest in now that we've seasoned the oil with the garlic and the ginger root. Turn that around a little bit. A little bit of cooking wine. Maybe like 2 tablespoons. And get a lid on. Let that go. Now let's check on our noodles. Okay, they're almost ready. Let's check one here. It's noodly. And if I made those a little wetter, they would have been a little bit more bendy and not broken. I don't really know. But they definitely seem like noodles. I'll give them one more minute and then we'll drain them. It's good to watch your noodles. And you see they're, you give them a stir and they boil down. Right? They give them a stir, you put them in, and it immediately lowers the temperature of the water. And then the water gets heated back up and it starts to want to boil over. You give them a stir. And then, they only take, when you make noodles this way, any kind of noodles, they only take a couple minutes, right? Like maybe 2 minutes tops. So I'm just waiting for my clock to register that another minute's gone by. And then I'll just drain them off. I'm going to take a little bit of this starchy water to use as a thickener for my stir fry, just in case it's needed. Okay. Okay, now the time's gone by, I'm just going to pour this into a strainer. Add a little bit of seaweed to this, as an afterthought. Move that around a little bit. Now we're just going to add a few ingredients. We're going to add some, about a teaspoon or so of sesame seed oil. And I already added the cooking wine. A little bit of dark soy sauce. Maybe a teaspoon of that. Teaspoon of regular soy sauce. And a little bit of fish sauce. It's a salty, fishy stuff, maybe a teaspoon of that. And we got some oyster sauce here. All these things just give it a great flavor. A tablespoon of the oyster sauce is such good stuff. Turn the heat up a bit. Move that all around. And this is a fast dish, right? And then cooking this for a group of people doesn't take much longer than cooking it for one person. You just got to make more noodles and cut more stuff up, right? Okay, I'd say that's about right. I'll put my noodles in. Now you can see they're broken up. So this is not exactly what I was looking for. But I'll be curious to see what kind of texture they have. At the very least, it was a fun experiment. And they're still noodles, right? When I bite into this, I'm still going to have a mouthful of noodles. And they didn't cost 6 times as much as your regular noodles. Regular egg noodles. Okay. We can use our fancy skills and toss it like that too, right? If you want. It's all a question of if you don't have that skill, just use 2 spoons and toss it like a salad, right? But if you got the right kind of pan with the right sweep, you can just toss it like that. But that's done. Let's put that in the bowl and we'll give her a try. All right, so that was not hard, did not take long, and let's give this a go. You can see this is a noodle dish. Sure, they're short. They're sort of short noodles, like 2 inches long, 6 centimeters sort of thing. But they're noodles. So let's give this a try. Actually, let me just try one. That is perfectly satisfying. If you're on a gluten-free diet and you have not been eating noodles because of the prohibitive cost of buying gluten-free noodles, I think this is an alternative. But yeah, the only thing that's different between this dish and the way I normally make it with enriched white flour is that the noodles aren't long. They're shorter. But this is fine. So, yeah, I'm really impressed. So yeah, you're on a gluten-free diet, you want to save money on noodles, make them from scratch. Just use an egg and some of this, any kind of gluten-free flour, mess around, play around, see which one makes a better noodle. This works out fine. I found it needed a little bit more water than a enriched wheat flour. recipe would take. But that's all a question of just playing around and trying different things, writing down what you've done with each attempt, and figuring out a way to get the result you want. But for a first try, I'm totally happy with this. This is great. I'm going to have this for lunch. If you want more cooking videos, just check out my cooking playlist on this channel. If you want recipes, check out my Substack page. I write an article every week, but once a month I do a cooking recipe with detailed instructions on how to do everything. So, hope you found this interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and until next time, have fun in your garden, have fun in your kitchen. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you want to help support everything I'm doing here, go to Vessies.com to buy whatever you need for your garden this year. And use my coupon code GAVS23 to get free shipping as long as there's a pack of seeds in the order and there's no oversized items in the order. Check out the description box of this video for details. You can buy everything you need from Vessies. They have seeds, fruit bushes and trees, soil amendments, pest solutions, tools, clothing, and lots of other stuff too. So yeah, if you want to help support everything I'm doing here and they sell something you need, buy it from them using my coupon code, and happy gardening.